Hey there, what you up to now? Day 1171. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, sharing my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar world to the online world of business. And I'm with new coaches this year, and I've kind of decided that I'm not just going to stay online. My area of expertise and the vast majority of my experience over the last 47 years, that's so crazy to say, 47 years, I've been doing different types of businesses. I started my first business when I was 13. And it's crazy to think back that all the different businesses, all the different industries I've been in, the vast majority of those years have been in the offline, brick and mortar, real world of businesses, particularly manufacturing. I've always been attracted to how things work. When I was a kid, I was that little girl that would take apart all the clocks in the house and leave them in shambles and pieces all over the house. Drove my mom absolutely crazy. And that was back before digital clocks and things, you know, when they had all the gears and the internal workings that were fascinating to me as a child. So I'm missing the brick and mortar offline world, the interactive world of business. And I've got a coach right now that says, well, if you're missing it, why are you staying out of it? You don't have to stay out of it. And I'm like, okay, absolutely, positively. But what I'm thinking about today is decide and do. To decide and do. Decide, take action. Decide, take action. What is the amount of time for you? And I'm thinking about this for me today as my nose itches. What is the time gap between when I make a decision and a choice and decide I'm going to do something and I actually do that thing or make a step toward that thing? Now, I've noticed that in my life, that time frame, and maybe it's because I'm getting older and I've got more experience to choose on, but that time frame is getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. I decide that I'm going to do something, I immediately take action toward that thing. Or if I decide I'm curious about something, I immediately start researching and looking into or asking questions or calling people or trying to find out something about that thing I'm curious about. Wasn't always so. I used to want things for like decades and I would never do anything to move toward them. I wanted to have a more free lifestyle, and for 20 years I created more and more and more responsibility and more things that tied me down and eliminated my sense of freedom and choice. And I did it on purpose, thinking I was doing the right thing, and it was the exact opposite of what I really wanted versus what I was doing. And I think we all go through phases like that when things become different and higher priorities for us. When I was raising my family and had my kids and they were home and young, my priorities were very different than they are now. My priorities now as a grandma, nobody tells you how awesome it is to be a grandparent versus a parent. A parent, it's 100% your responsibility. You got to figure it all out. As a grandparent, you just get to focus on the good stuff, the love, and then you get to give them back to their parents who have to be 100% responsible for them all the time. And my parents told me that when they had grandkids, but I didn't get it. You know, they would say that about our kids all the time, and I didn't get it until I actually experienced it myself. How many things do we have in life that are like that? We hear about them, we think about them, we read about them, we study them, we research them, but we don't actually do it ourselves. There are certain things, and I'd say the vast majority of the things that are worthwhile in our lives, that we cannot experience vicariously. We can't live vicariously through books and movies and stories. We have to actually jump in with both feet, decide, and then do something and actually experience it ourselves if we want to actually own that experience. If we actually want to know what it's like to be a business owner, we have to be a business owner. If we want to know what it's like to be a wife and mother, we have to be a wife and mother. Other people can tell us about it, other people can write about it, other people can, warn us about it, but until we actually experience, and guess what? All of our experiences are going to be different. My experience as a mother is different than my daughter's experience as a mother. Is different than my mom and my grandma's and every other woman on the planet's experience as a mother. We each experience everything as only we uniquely can. So as we're experiencing it, we'll draw our own conclusions. We'll have our own ideas. We'll have our own thoughts and beliefs and past experiences that we bring to any experience. So I'm thinking about deciding and doing today. Our Get Up and Go challenge today was about choosing among alternatives and taking action. I'm teaching something called the SOAP framework that is a 4-step process or framework for handling any change or challenge that comes into your life. And we take and we go through it over a 30-day period, intentionally a 30-day period for a lot of reasons, but a 30-day period to install that framework into our subconscious that guarantees that we always get better results after any change or challenge that we face than before, because we have an intentional process and framework, a way of dealing with change and challenges that automatically gives us the best results for us. And so today's was all about action. The A in the SOAP framework is about taking action. We have to analyze alternatives and look at alternatives and have a framework for doing that. I have different models and tools I teach every day of the challenge that you can use to, how do you decide among alternatives? Okay, we brainstorm alternatives as part of the options yesterday. Well, how do you analyze and decide which one to go for? You can do it gut instinct. You can say, okay, well, I feel like looking into this, or I feel like doing this, or I feel like drinking more water, and then just decide and do. You don't need a big spreadsheet and a worksheet or a framework or a tool to help you decide that. Sometimes you just know what's the right thing to do. You'll always turn out better if you go with your gut instinct, your gut feeling on a choice, than all the studying, all the research you can do, right? Because the research is only as good as the sources it came from or the way it's being presented. And that's all subject to other people's interpretation. What we want to do is filter things through our instinct, our filter, what feels right for us. Because what feels right for someone else and is right for them, what feels right for us is right for us. And it's about determining what that is. And it's about determining what that is, not from a position of fear or scarcity or lack or comfort zone, but from a position of power in terms of, I'm going to choose what's right for me. I'm going to go in the direction that's right for me. A lot of times for some of us, going in the direction that's right for us is absolutely the opposite of the direction that's right for most people, other people in our family. But we stand up and we choose to go that way anyway, because if we do anything less, we feel like crap. I don't know about you, but I've spent a lot of years going in the direction that I thought the world thought I should go, and doing the things that I thought the world thought I should do, and meaning my friends, my family, my parents, my way I was raised to believe things. And it turns out it was a bunch of nonsense. It was the exact opposite of what I needed. I made choices throughout my life to ignore the creative side of me and the part of me that's a whole lot more fun than the nerdy engineering side of me. And I developed the engineer business owner side of me, and I let the creative side just kind of fall off and shrivel up to a teeny tiny piece, where I realized I love fun, creative ways of doing everything. And so how can I incorporate that into what I want to do now, not what the world thinks I should do now? That's one of the cool things about getting older. We stop listening to what other people think, what other people say. We don't care. I don't know how long. It's been a long time now, probably since I was 50, that I just don't give a rat's a rat's patootie, what other people think of me. I actually think it's kind of funny now, because what I found through lots of experiences and lots of bad feelings and hurt feelings is that it doesn't matter. The person that says something to hurt you or to try to hurt your feelings or to judge you or put you down, 90% of the time, or more than that, probably 100% of the time, it's not about you or anything you're doing. It's about them and something that they're judging because they think that it's missing in their life. The feedback that you'll get on your videos, your live videos. I get feedback on my live videos. When you look into it or follow up on it, you'll find out that the person that's criticizing or judging something about what you're doing has never even done the thing that they're judging you for doing. I used to get that a lot in business. Well, you just don't know, young lady. This is how it is in this industry or that industry. This is the way we've always done it. This is how we do it in the banking world. You have to do what we say. This is how we do it in the manufacturing business of manufacturing widgets or whatever type manufacturing. This is the way we do it in the USDA. This is the way the government does it. You have to do it this way. This is the way we do it at XYZ company. You have to do it this way. And I'm like, okay, whatever. You just don't understand, is what they would tell me. You're just a woman. You just don't understand. And I laugh now when I think about some of that. But it's usually people that just have a different perspective. And guess what? Everybody gets to have their own perspective, but you don't have to let it affect you. I love this saying, Your opinion of me is none of my business. What you think of me is none of my business, because it doesn't matter. What you think of me, you get to own that and keep that. I'm not going to take that over for you and adopt it as my own belief, thoughts, or feelings about myself. You get to go ahead and keep that. Oh, I know what it is. The I am rubber, you are glue, what, the whole kid thing. I can't remember the rhyme, but there was like a nursery rhyme. I am rubber, you are glue, what you throw at me bounces off me and sticks to you, or something to that effect. I'll have to look that up now because I'm curious, but that's a really good one, right? And when we're kids, why do we not get that? Why do we not understand that it doesn't matter what's going on outside of us? It doesn't matter what some dumb kid in our class said. It doesn't matter what some dumb guy in high school said. It doesn't matter what a teacher in college or a boss said to you or did to you. It's in the past. It just doesn't matter anymore. So urgent, important, take action, decide, and do. How long does that take you? And just a question for yourself, between deciding that you want something and actually taking action toward that. Hey, I want a new car. And then you just think about wanting a new car. Maybe you look up some new cars online, but you never really do anything to get a new car. You never go to a dealership. You never look at the car that you want. You never do anything. You just dream and wish and want a new car from the comfort of your own home, looking on your phone or scrolling through things on the internet. But you never do anything that would make it possible for you to get that car and make that car be a part of your life. We do the same thing with jobs. We do the same thing with businesses. How many people have you ever talked to that said they want to start their own business? Yet they've been saying, oh, I want to have my own business so I don't have to go back to that stinking job on Monday. They're at the bar on Friday night having drinks and appetizers and bitching and moaning about their job. Well, less of that right now during COVID, but how many times have you overheard those conversations? How many times have you been part of those conversations? And yet you're still in the same stinking job, or now you're doing the stinking job from home and you hate it even more because at least the crazy people you used to work with were fun. Now you're doing the same miserable work that you've hated for decades, but you're not doing anything about it. Now is the perfect time for massive changes in all of our lives, whether they're being forced upon us from the outside or whether we're choosing. It's always better if we're choosing to make those changes, but now is the perfect time to actually decide and go after what you want. Literally stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, ask yourself, what do I want? What do I really, really want? And then just take an immediate action to move toward that. Hey, I really, really want to go back to school. I really, really always wanted to be a dentist. I really wanted to study art. Go investigate and take an art class. Go online and look at the different types of art that you like. See what's out there. See what you're interested in. Find out what's possible for you. But just decide and immediately take some sort of action to move you toward the thing that you decide, the thing that you want. All right, enough rambling on that. What do we have today for our annual challenge? Our annual challenge this year for me personally is to do one thing every day that centers me. From this little journal book I got at the cabin. Probably the last, I might have one more of these journal books. I'm looking at the last 3 years. But in the next couple of months, I think when I'm on my trip this month, the end of this month and through May, I will look for what I want to do next. Every year, I like to have a 3-in-1 fun thing every day. That was COVID. That was perfect for COVID. And then this year is do one thing every day that centers you. And I also did a couple 365-day video challenge with a group following Funnel Hacker Live in 2018. One of the, I don't want to say super stories, but one of the success stories and 2 Common Club winners from the ClickFunnels world wanted to get better at doing videos. So he said, I'm going to do a video a day. And he challenged a group of us. And there were like 100 some of us that started it. And only I think 7 of us, 6 or 7 of us that finished it, including the person that started the challenge. That he didn't do it every single day, but since it was his challenge and his group, he didn't get kicked out like all the other people. If you missed a day for whatever reason, any reason, you were just out of the challenge. And it was just a fun challenge, but we learned a lot. So I went live every day in that group, and we could talk about anything we wanted, but we had to go live every day in that group. And I had already been doing my one thing every day that scares you since the beginning of the year. So for me, it was easy to just add another thing. Sometimes, some days that was my my share in that group was I would just go live in that group and then share that as my do one thing every day that scares you challenge. So done lots of annual challenges. So this year is all about what is really important to me. And I think it goes back to the, hey, decide what really makes you tick and what makes you grow and what feels good to you, and then go do that. And so every day this year, I'm getting more and more in tune with what really is important to me, not what I think should be important to me, not what I was raised believing it should be important to me, not what I should do, but I hate that. Let's stop shoulding all over ourselves and say, okay, well, what could I do? What will I do? What do I want to do? What would I do? And for what reason? Not so much the understanding, but understanding ourselves and what makes us tick. So today was about, and I can totally relate to this one. It was a sayings day by Golden Meyer. I don't know how to, Golden Meyer, I guess. I don't know how to pronounce her name. It said, not being beautiful forced me to develop my inner resources. The pretty girl has a handicap to overcome. And then we're talking about and sharing what thoughts and beliefs do we have about ourselves or that we think are our shortcomings. So we're sharing that, and then what inner resources we have to combat that, because everything we need is already inside of us. I don't remember who first told me that or taught me that, but it's so true. We make up all this stuff and we think we need all these things and we have to complicate our lives and our world. But the truth is, everything we need, everything we have ever needed is a part of us already, and we just have to find it and then get curious about, well, how do I make that really happen in my life and in the lives of anybody else that I want to impact? So I'm actually really enjoying this particular challenge because it does focus on me, and we all like things that focus on us, right? But it's focusing me and my energy on things that I probably wouldn't be researching or studying or knowing anything about otherwise. So what else we got? Supersize Your Business was about get the ball rolling. I don't know that I've talked about that yet. Getting the ball rolling. I went online and I just researched and I started a list of, in my handy dandy planner, I think I've got about 50. Oh, I'm stuck on my chapter I'm reading. I'm reading a chapter. I'm reading a book from a different coach right now, and I'm only on chapter 7. I'm doing a chapter a day. I have to pace myself and fit it into my regular schedule. But in my planner, I found, I think probably 50. I've got probably 25, 50 different, and they're sort of business related. I said, well, what are some 50 most common English business idioms, or idioms with respect to business is what I asked Google to show me. And so then I just started a list, and I think we're on the third one today, just the third one. Today was get the ball rolling. And there are a couple on this list that I've never heard of, and I think it's pretty funny. So that'll be fun to get to those. And there's a couple, of course, that I've covered before because we've done like 800 something different idioms from the English language. Now there's 25,000, so we're not going to run out anytime soon. And I just do this as my placeholder for my Supersize Your Business group. And selfishly, I've sort of enjoyed doing them. It's fun for me. It's a creative way every day to look at something and say, well, how does that apply to my business? How does that apply to my life? Does it at all? There have been a couple. In the first, had a book of 600 and some idioms that were actually my kids' middle school book I found when I was moving. And I thought, okay, this book has not been cracked. It looks very different now. It's been definitely worn out. But when I found it, the kids hadn't even looked at it. They didn't care one bit about it. I'm sure it was one of those scholastic books I ordered for them through book club or through the book fairs they had at their school when they were young. And they hadn't used it, so I did. And as I got to the end, at first I was just going to do it while I was moving, and then I started to get into it, and then I started to get curious, and then I told myself, okay, I have to do every one in the book, because some of them were really hard to tie to business. There's some idioms and expressions that are common for middle schoolers and school kids that are a stretch to apply to business. So that became kind of like a challenge or an improv. And so now, first 100 days of 2021, I ran out of the book, right? And so last year I was going through an alphabetic dictionary to find idioms to do, which got kind of boring and old. I'm like, this is kind of boring. I don't know that I want to do this. And when you skip around, it's hard to keep track of the ones that you've already done, especially when you're getting up towards 900 or so. So the first part of the year I did 100 most popular idioms in the English language, and I went through those. And then I got done with those because we're on day 103 of 2021. So for the last 3 days, I just, what are the 50 most common English business related idioms? And so now I'm going through those, and then after those 50 I'll come up with something else, and we'll figure out what else to do with the Supersize Your Business group. But I don't want to abandon them because they're awesome people. So that's it. That's all I'm working on right now. Again, I've got 2 different mentors. I've got some coaching calls this week, and for myself and with others. I've got a lady that wants to be on my podcast, and I haven't done podcast interviews for a while, so I need to break out my microphone, which is back here. I need to break out my microphone and set up my computer. It's probably just about time for a new computer for me, so I'm going to have to figure that out pretty soon too. Before we have an outage or a loss, I have a backup computer, but I always like to have my main computer and that all set up and ready to go, especially when I'm training and learning new things. All right, that's it. That's all I've got today. If I can help you in any way, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, decide and do today. I challenge you to decide something and take an action toward it immediately today. And if you're brave, share in the comments below what you actually decided and then what you did to move toward that. Have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.